What's going on, guys? B. Scott here with you on today's show. We got your tight end sit start heading in to week number 16. We still got a couple games tonight. It is Tuesday, some awkward games, but we're going to be looking at the tight end position, and I'm going to be giving you my starts, sits, and streams heading in to the semifinals of your playoffs. So keep it locked and loaded right here at the first four downs. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. As I mentioned in the preview, we're going through the tight end sit starts heading into week number 16. If you're listening to the video, you either one, enjoy my content, and I appreciate all the support from all you guys, or two, you're looking for help heading into your playoffs. So obviously, the way I like to do it, I like to rattle off my top 10-ish tight ends. Then I got some sit options, guys in tough matchups, and stream options if you're really looking in deeper leagues. So before we get to today's content, don't forget, like the video, subscribe, share, thumb bell, all that good stuff, and then comment. If there's a tight end I don't mention, or you want to hear more about, or one you like better than anyone that I said, drop in the comment section. I'll be glad to give you my advice. Start, sit, pick one up, play two, whatever situation you're in at the tight end position, and I'll be glad to give you my advice to the best of my ability. So let's start at the top tight ends of the week. And for me, first off, Mark Andrews. He's been outstanding. 10-plus targets in 5 of his last 7 games. He's averaging over 10 targets. And he's got the Cincinnati Bengals tough spot, kind of, but not really. It's Mark Andrews. He's played very good on the season. Been the tight end one. So how could you clear cut not start him? It's set it and forget it. The next tight end, George Kittle at the Tennessee Titans. Short week, Thursday Night Football on the road in Tennessee. George Kittle's been great. There's no way you're sitting him. You're starting him. Rob Gronkowski at the Carolina Panthers. Had a down game. Honestly, the whole rhythm of the Tampa Bay offense just looked out of sync. But Gronkowski, 11 targets with Evans and Godwin out. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, hopefully they got Antonio Brown on the field, but if they don't, Mike Evans could miss. Godwin, we know, is out for the season. And no Leonard Fournette possibly too. So Gronkowski, once again, could see double-digit targets. You're starting him. Kyle Pitts, facing the Detroit Lions. It's a good spot to probably start Kyle Pitts. I had him as a sit last week just because I didn't think he would find the end zone. Did finish the day. Had a big 49-yard catch, I want to say, which saved his fantasy day. And he's been that low-end tight end one production all season long. So I like him as a start here. 6+ targets in 12 of 14 games on the season. He is getting targeted, but he's just not finding the end zone. And hopefully in this one, he can. So Kyle Pitts is a start for me. Travis Kelce, he's on the COVID list. Obviously, if he's available to play, you're going to be firing him as a top 2 option at the tight end position. You've seen what the upside is just last week. 190 yards and 2 touchdowns, career day for Kelce. So he's playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. If he's available, you're starting him. Set and forget it. Zach Ertz facing the Indianapolis Colts. Good spot. Indianapolis, I want to say bottom 10 defensively against the tight end position. They give up a lot of fantasy points to the tight ends. So I like him in a spot here. 11 targets, 6 catches for 74 yards just last week in the game against the Detroit Lions, in which no DeAndre Hopkins. So that boost in targets, I could see that production going forward. So Zach Ertz, top 10 tight end for me. Dallas Goedert facing the New York Giants. He hasn't played yet, so we haven't seen the production, but after the game that he had last week, before his bye week, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dallas Goedert's top 10, 12 option. Should be again this week. Dalton Schultz facing the Washington football team just 2 weeks ago. Dalton Schultz had 1 catch for 4 yards, I want to say, on 3 targets against this Washington football team. But he's coming off a game. 8 targets, 8 catches, 67 yards and a touchdown. That's where Dalton Schultz can be on a weekly basis. That's his upside. So it's hard to sit that production. Yes, his floor has been hit or miss now that all 3 pass catchers are healthy, and Dak Prescott has been not playing well. But Dalton Schultz, I still like him here this week as a top 10 option. If you got him on your team, you probably got to be firing him. Dawson Knox facing New England Patriots. Tough spot here. New England give up the fewest fantasy points to the tight end position, so I don't love the matchup here, but it's Dawson Knox. He has upside. There's no way I could sit him still, even over a potential stream option. And then Mike Gesicki at the New Orleans Saints. Tough matchup. 8+ targets in back-to-back games for Mike Gesicki. You see it. He's getting targeted heavily. And so I like it in this matchup, especially against Saints team that can stop the run. Now, Duke Johnson and Myles Gaskin, do I trust and believe they're going to be able to carry the Miami team on offense? No. New Orleans Saints are very good against the run, so I see Tua throwing a lot in this game once again. So Mike Gesicki's another good option. He's going to round out my top 10 tight ends. Now on to some sits, guys that I don't necessarily love in their matchups. First off, Hunter Henry, and I get it. How could you sit Hunter Henry, man? 8 targets, 6 catches, 77 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Not 1, but 2 touchdowns against the Indianapolis Colts. Outstanding day for Hunter Henry. But facing the Buffalo Bills, 4th fewest fantasy points to the tight end position, just 1 touchdown In their last 9 games, Buffalo's given up. And Hunter Henry, we know, is touchdown dependent. He really is. Last week had a good spot because I told you, the Indianapolis Colts, they gave up a lot of yards and receptions as it was to tight ends, and he found the end zone twice. So that bolstered his big number day. But outside of touchdowns, he really doesn't average a lot of yards per reception. So I don't love the outlook here. It's going to take a touchdown for Hunter Henry to get you to that 10, 12 fantasy points. I'm hard-pressed to start him. I get it. If you got him and you're going to fire him, I understand. I mean, you see the upside. So it's hard to sit a guy like that, but his floor is non-existent. It could be. So potential sit for me this week. I get it. If you're going to start him, I understand. Tyler Conklin, facing the Los Angeles Rams, 3 or less receptions in 5 of his last 6 games, so he's not getting targeted very heavily. 1 game over 35 yards and 0 touchdowns in his last 5 games. So I don't love the outlook for Conklin. The Los Angeles Rams, 0 tight ends, have cleared 66 yards on the season, and they've been very good. I want to say bottom 10 or 12 in fantasy points allowed to the tight end position. So I don't like the outlook of Conklin here. It's hard to trust. I get it, Kirk Cousins. It was just a weird game. He finished with 84 yards or 87 yards, like his fewest in a game in his career. So very weird against the Chicago Bears secondary that's really, really bad. Conklin did miss a big catch down the field, deep downfield, but I just don't like the outlook here. Conklin just hasn't been getting it done over his last 5 games, so I would be sitting Conklin. If you got one of these upper echelon options, I'd probably just be rolling them, no problem. And then Tyler Higbee is going to round out my sits. He faces the Minnesota Vikings, 9th fewest fantasy points to the tight end position. Higbee, just 1 touchdown in his last 7 games. 1 game over 50 yards since week 1. He's not getting targeted heavily. I mean, he's getting a lot of checkdowns. You see it every week. 3, 4 receptions, 40, 50 yards. I mean, if he gets you 4 receptions for 40 yards in a full point PPR league for the tight end position, I guess you'll take 8 fantasy points, but I just don't like the outlook here. Minnesota's been very good on the season, albeit giving up a couple touchdowns here or there, but I'm going to be sitting Tyler Higbee this week. Now I want to do a couple stream options, guys that I love in the matchups. First off, it's going to be Noah Fant. Faces the Las Vegas Raiders last time out against Las Vegas Raiders. 11 targets, 9 catches, 97 yards and a touchdown in week 6 against this Raiders team. He's had 4 receptions in 3 straight games. So, yes, he's not seeing the big volume, but he's getting it done on a low-end scale, 50-plus yards in back-to-back games with 4 receptions. So it's like you'll take 9 fantasy points, I guess. Las Vegas Raiders, though, 3rd most fantasy points at the quarterback position. They've been roasted by the tight end, to the tight end position. They've been roasted versus tight ends. 10 touchdowns allowed. I like Noah Fant's outlook here, and especially if Drew Lock was to be under center. He's a little more sporadic as a passer, but you've seen it last year. Noah Fant was targeted heavily, albeit no Courtland Sutton, for much of the year, so Noah Fant did see a lot of target share. But Drew Lock, he threw it to Noah Fant a lot last year. I like him as a good stream option this week. And then Cole Kmet at the Seattle Seahawks, 5th most fantasy points to the tight end position. The Seattle Seahawks have allowed monster days to the tight end position just in the last 5 games. Zach Ertz, 2 touchdowns. George Kittle, 2 touchdowns. Gave up a touchdown just last week. So 5 touchdowns allowed in their last 4 games to a tight end. I like the outlook of Cole Kmet, 5+ targets in 4 straight games. 32 targets in his last 4 games. That's 8 targets a game. Coming off a game, a weird one against the Minnesota Vikings, 9 targets, 6 catches, 71 yards. Minnesota's been pretty tough to the tight end position, but with that many targets, you're going to take that. Cole Kmet, I think he's a pretty talented player, and if he can see 6 to 8 targets in this one against a Seattle team that's been bad against tight end position, I like his chances this week. So that's it. That's my tight end video heading in to week number 16. It's the fantasy playoffs. Get excited. You need that W this week to make it to the championship. So if you have any questions about any tight ends, ones that I mentioned or ones that I didn't, drop in the comment section. I'll be glad to give you my advice. And while you're there, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, share, thumb bell for all your fantasy content all this season, all into next season. We'll have your off-season stuff. We're going to have some fantasy playoff stuff. We're going to have the regular playoffs for the NFL, all these fun videos for the rest of the season. So for the first 4 downs, it's been B. Scott, and I'm out.